Ahem. Today, we're gonna take a break from Zelda and focus on my favorite sub-series of all time, Paper Mario. And yes, there will be some Thousand Year Door spoilers here, as well as Super Paper Mario. Even though I like Zelda more than Mario, the Paper Mario series has some of my favorite games of all time. I would even rank some of them higher than certain Zelda games. Now, this video was developed right before Thousand Year Door's Switch remaster came out, so I'm not aware of any big crazy new content in the game yet. However, I doubt the information presented here is retconned or changed in the new version of Thousand Year Door. Anyway, this is something I actually wanted to talk about for a long time. It is a theory, but not a Zelda theory, a Paper Mario theory. Last spoiler warning, hypothesis. What if Luigi's curse positioned him to turn evil and affected his fate in the Paper Mario games? Yeah, we're gonna go there. Let's dive in. This theory is derived from written stories and prophecies from a couple of Paper Mario games, mainly Super Paper Mario released on the Wii in 2007. So there is a timeline of events I'll quickly go over before we talk about Luigi and his surprisingly evil fate. In Super's backstory and lore, there was a tribe of ancient people known as the Tribe of Ancients, and an evil tribe known as the Dark Tribe, which Count Bleck, the main villain of Super Paper Mario, descended from. Thousands or more years ago, this dark tribe wrote a prophetic book, which explains much of the game's events to soon pass. This book is called The Dark Prognosticus. It is taken by Count Bleck in a time closer to the game's modern day to start the plot of Super Paper Mario. The book prophesizes that the end of all worlds through the power of the Chaos Heart, an ancient artifact of evil, and as well as it coming from the person with the Dark Heart to execute a plan to bring forth and utilize that Chaos Heart to destroy all worlds. The Tribe of Ancients, ancestors from Merlin, wrote a prophecy to combat and oppose the Dark Prognosticus, which is simply called the Light Prognosticus. Merlin, with a few forms throughout the Paper Mario games, specifically lives in Super's present day to aid Mario and the other heroes and help them achieve a good ending, which is stopping the apocalypse of all the worlds, which is fulfilling the Light Prognosticus. I think it's safe for me to say that the ancient events of Super Paper Mario's lore happened way before the events of the first two Paper Mario games, making the ancient prophecy lore the oldest history in the Paper Mario series. So what does this have to do with Luigi? Well, in Super Paper Mario, Luigi actually gets brainwashed to become a villain for certain points of the game. Not only is Luigi simply brainwashed to be evil, but his personality is inverted and changes. More on that later. In Thousand Year Door, Luigi has quite an interesting adventure of his own, told to us only in text that happens alongside Mario's main journey in the game. Though what's interesting about this quest is that Luigi goes through certain experiences and emotions that might point to a specific outcome in the future of Paper Mario. Luigi's Curse. So, Luigi's quest is shown to us through text in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door as Mario progresses through the game. It is quite an interesting quest that Luigi talks about, and it's one with a very unique ending, something that Paper Mario fans wish could be playable one day, including me. If this quest is playable one day, before you stumble upon this video, this theory shouldn't be affected as I stated earlier. Anyway, Luigi's secret quest in Thousand Year Door is to find the Marvelous Compass, piecing it back together to show Luigi where to go, so that he may end up finding and rescuing Princess Eclair of the Waffle Kingdom. Luigi's quest takes him to a legendary volcano, a racetrack, and a theater show, and most important to this theory, mysterious ruins. Once Thousand Year Door's story comes to a finish, Luigi's story is interpreted by a mysterious author who then writes about it and sells it in-game in 5 parts at least, giving us more and unbiased details about Luigi's quest. The unbiased part of the story really matters and makes this conversation much more interesting. So where does this Luigi's curse that I speak of really come into play? Well, it happens towards the end of his journey. Okay, in the later stage of his quest to find the pieces of the Marvelous Compass, Luigi comes across the Rapturous Ruins and finds a mysterious boy named Cranberry, who has waited for more than 1,000 years for Luigi. What's interesting is that this Cranberry is the last of his ancient race. which is the ancient Luff people. Cranberry told Luigi the origins of the marvelous compass he seeks, and how it destroyed the Luff people around 1,000 years ago. What's interesting about this constant 1,000 years ago is that it's consistently in Paper Mario's lore of the Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario. Obviously, both games are made by intelligent systems and shared development teams, as well as Super Paper Mario, the third Paper Mario game, and a sequel to Thousand Year Door, of course. It's actually teased and foreshadowed by the gamer Toad Kid from Petalburg in Thousand Year Door. Really interesting, if you ask me. This Toad mentioned Luigi having a prominent role in the next game. From this alone, it's clear that a third Paper Mario game was planned and its story already had some work completed before the original Thousand Year Door released on GameCube back in 2004? Wow. Super Paper Mario's file data even shows us unused GameCube button options, implying Super Paper Mario might have been a more direct sequel to Thousand Year Door. Thus, it's safe to say that these games are so vastly connected to each other, possibly even a closer connection than that of Paper Mario 64 with Thousand Year Door. From this, I theorize that from both of the game's story and lore points of views, that the ancient tribes mentioned in both games could actually be connected, coexisted, or might have even taken inspiration from each other. More on that later. Branching back to the latter stage of Luigi's Compass Quest, remember that this Cranberry guy is the last of an ancient people who had important history and lore to share with Luigi. Cranberry mentions how the marvelous compass was once used by his people long ago, using its foretelling powers to actually rule the world. Could they have been precursors to Count Bleck's Dark Tribe? Or at least related to Super's Tribe of Ancients? Regardless, this ancient Luff people abused the power of the compass and it ended up cursing them, destroying their empire and their people. The survivors dismantled the compass and hid its pieces around the world. Cranberry's purpose all these years later was to eventually give this information to a hero with a noble heart that would take the burden of the future. Okay, hold on. Quote, take the burden of the future? Burden? Luigi would uphold a burden of the future? Guys, we need to remember that. The book then reads, nobody but Luigi could have shouldered this weight. Interesting. As if Luigi is meant and maybe even prophesized to hold a burden of the future. Cranberry gives Luigi one of the final compass pieces and then tells him, fear the curse, but find your eclair. Cranberry smiles as he and the ruins fade away, fulfilling the purpose. The Super Luigi book writes that Cranberry's words are burned into Luigi's brain about this very curse. So this is a really interesting choice of words here, and it will definitely serve as evidence later on in this theory. Before saying what happens at the end of Luigi's journey, it seems that Eclair has been in some sort of faint communication with Luigi telepathically, and Luigi is very drawn to her and very drawn to rescuing her, as if he has some sort of emotional connection to her. We need to remember that as well. Luigi's story reaches its climax when he confronts the Chestnut King, an evil beast who apparently took Princess Eclair captive. Apparently, the Chestnut King was actually Eclair's true love, and it was turned into a monster by the one who wrote the letter to Luigi and Mario all the way back at the beginning of the game, Minister Crepe. In the final fight against Crepe, Eclair is nearby and has the last compass piece in her tiara. So the final piece shines onto Luigi, and with all the compass pieces combined, Luigi is able to use the foresight power that the Luff people once utilized, and then Luigi uses it to foresee the villain's every move. Luigi is then able to defeat the villain with ease. The book then says that Luigi regretted not seeing farther into the future. Might that have revealed Luigi's fate in Super Paper Mario? Did Luigi have a bad feeling about seeing farther into the future even though he wanted to because he had a noble heart? Well, speaking of Luigi's heart, it became heavy and full of more regret since he did not go to see Claire and her beauty at her wedding. Clearly, she was not marrying Luigi, her recent savior, and Luigi is insecure about this, leading to his unfinished and biased version of the story when he directly tells it to Mario. So, with this story done, with Luigi's Compass story done, what really is Luigi's curse? Some can say that it's simply just not being with Eclair and just Luigi having regret due to his insecurity. but this insecurity is something that Luigi can be argued to always have throughout all Mario games. So could this insecurity have been fortified by the curse? Well, Luigi's insecurity reverses in his brainwashing as he becomes Mr. L in Super Paper Mario, a minion of the evil Count Bleck. So now let's go over Super Paper Mario's lore and see if there are any more connections here. In Super Paper Mario, we see some of the characters undergo brainwashing to serve Count Bleck due to Natasha's hypnosis power. Of course, Bowser's minions getting brainwashed isn't too crazy, but it does also affect Peach, who agrees to marrying Bowser. But then again, Peach's personality isn't affected by the brainwashing, she just simply agrees to marry Bowser. And also we have to realize that while Peach's personality isn't affected, nor are the personalities of Bowser's minions severely affected when they are also brainwashed. Only Luigi, when turning into Mr. L, has a change in personality, as if his mind is more susceptible, sensitive, or predisposed to brainwashing. Dementio, the jester sorcerer, also has a hand to play in Luigi's brainwashing, as Luigi immediately flips back to being evil in the final boss of Super Paper Mario after he was supposedly redeemed in Chapter 7 of the game. So could this be a result of the Compass curse from his personal quest? The warning of the curse, quote, burned into his brain, end quote. So with all that in mind, assuming that I'm on the right track of theorizing the ancient Luff people from 1,000 years ago being connected to the tribe of ancients or the Dark Tribe from Super Paper Mario, perhaps there is a further correlation with Super's Dark Prognosticus when it comes to Luigi. Count Bleck mentions a section from the Dark Prognosticus about the man in green. It reads, "Though the man in red shall wield formidable powers, one shall stand against him. The man in green shall use the Chaos Heart's power to bring darkness to all." Knowing the outcome of it all, Luigi is destined to use the Chaos Heart against Mario, thanks to Dementio, the ultimate schemer. Man, that sounds like a curse to me if I'm going to be honest. So let's see if the Light Prognosticus has anything further to add to this theory. Earlier in Super's story, Merlin mentions this huge quote from the prophecy, quote, "One person will determine whether the light or dark prognosticus predicts truly." Both books refer to him as the man in green. Okay guys, now this is evidence we can really work with. From both tribes' prophecies, the man in green is said to make the difference when it comes to the end of all worlds. What was Cranberry's purpose again in Luigi's Compass Quest? To quote the Superbook, his role was to wait until one with a noble heart came to take the burden of the future. None but Luigi could have shouldered this weight. Not only was Luigi given an ultimate burden, but Cranberry says fear the curse but find your eclair, as he gives Luigi one of the compass pieces. Can Luigi's curse not be limited just to his compass journey? I mean, he did defeat the Chestnut King as a beast and then the true villain, Minister Crepe, with the true power of the compass. That cursed the Luff people. Guys, Luigi is cursed. His further depression and insecurity from not being with Eclair fuels a sign of deep desire to become greater and knowledgeable and more powerful. That trait sprouted, literally and metaphorically, into his alter ego personality, Mr. L. A version of Luigi filled with pride and cockiness, as he even flirted with Peach in a way our Luigi would have never done. Thus, just as the power of the compass almost fully destroyed the Luff people, the power of the marvelous compass almost fully destroyed Luigi in the end of Super Paper Mario, as Dementio died, sort of, but Luigi didn't. But, with hope given to Cranberry, and hope given from the Light Prognosticus, the curse from the compass isn't permanent. Also, I do have to say, Luigi hasn't been playable since Super, as well as serving as the final boss of that game. Perhaps when Luigi is playable again, we can redeem him further from the curse if Super's ending wasn't enough to redeem him already. So, here's hoping for another Paper Luigi adventure, one that we can actually play. Anyway guys, what do you think? Did I overthink the crap out of this? To be honest, it was fun, and I'm glad with the release of Thousand Year Doors Remaster on the Switch, I can finally make this theory and release it and it can be relevant. This was SkyLinkTheory bringing you a theory on Paper Mario. If you didn't know, I mainly do Zelda theories, as that series has a lot more lore to unpack. I just did 3 major theories on Zelda's message to the future in Tears of the Kingdom, solving the Light Dragon's paradox from Tears of the Kingdom, as well as a huge theory on Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf's legacy and what it could mean for a future Zelda installment. I'm also streaming Mario Kart and Zelda on Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Speaking of Mario Kart though, one more thing. Did Luigi's skills from the race and his Compass Quest actually point to him being able to drive really well, which is why we see Luigi in a cart saving Mario and doing all this other stuff driving in Color Splash and Origami King? Man, I just can't stop with this one. So guys, if this theory or any of my other videos sounds great to you, please check them out and share them with your friends. Paper Mario is back, people! Man, I'm just so happy about that. Anyway, peace out. I'm out.